John Ball. It's your host, Jacob and your co-host, Gabe Caraway. So today's episode is actually brought to you by some coffee, water, and whatever mug Gabe has, and some sort of calculator. Don't know why. I just got done doing homework for do this episode. So, Gabe, it's football. We all know it's football. It's football season. It's been football season for the past week and a half.
Yeah.
It was Thursday night football last night, and it was absolutely beautiful. Some say
cinema.
Some say cinema. Some say cinema. On Thursday night we had the Chiefs versus the Ravens. What's your thoughts on it? I need some thoughts on this one from you.
I thought the Chiefs were going to pull away there. We knew the Ravens' defense was good. They I think at the beginning of the game, kind of struggled, but I think they got a couple stops together, gave them a chance. Obviously, had the ability to score on the game-winning drive. Little KD moment there for Isaiah Likely. It's a tough way to go out.
Yeah.
It's a tough way to go out.
The big thing that actually worries me about this Ravens team, I didn't expect their offensive line played that bad.
Off to them, yeah.
That was a terrible showing. I know they had
3 new starters this year. 2 of them haven't played at all before this year.
Exactly.
They threw Rosengarten out there on Chris Jones, and immediately they gave up a strip fumble.
I mean,
that was funny.
You're playing the best interior defensive lineman in all of college football.
NFL.
NFL. Thank you. Sorry, brain's different else. I mean, you kind of expect that to happen. I know throughout the season they're gonna be better as they go. But it's the first game. I mean, it's not like too big of a worry. Lamar Jackson didn't really improve didn't really improve as a passer as I thought he will. He made good throws at times, but
he was getting pressured a lot.
He was.
Which was again, that was my thing before the game. How is he going to do, against pressure?
Exactly. So that back corner, the back corner to, I want to say it's Flowers. It was Flowers.
On the last drive?
Yeah, No,
it was Isaiah Likely. Both plays.
Yeah, so it's Isaiah Likely, the corner
right before
play that semi-miss. He should make that throw. But that's a hard throw to make still because there's 3 defenders around there.
He didn't have time to get set, I think.
Exactly. So I'm not too worried about that. But the throw to Zay Flowers when him coming to the crosser, from what I've known, it was a big miscommunication between the two. Lamar Jackson's head. He's going through the major playmaking. He's gonna stop he's gonna thought Zay Flowers gonna stop right there, right on that goalpost, and just catch it right there for a touchdown. But Zay Flowers would end up keeping on going with Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson rolling right. Zay Flowers going to roll right. That's just common knowledge. And that was just a big miscommunication. Lamar Jackson should have known. And then we get to the whole Isaiah Likely situation where I thought at first there's no way he actually caught that. And then
I knew he was out.
I thought he was in. And then I saw I'm like, no way. I looked at him like, I mean, there's not much you can do about that. That's genetically, it's a KD ad moment. I mean, toes hit the white. You're sitting there, I'm like, Isaiah Likely knew too. He sat there right there, I'm like,
yeah.
And that happens. But how'd you feel about Derrick Henry being in the Ravens jersey?
Obviously I was next to a trash can most of the first quarter, keeled over. I thought I was, I don't know. It's like, I'm trying to think of something you could relate to in recent memory. It's just like, I don't know. For 8 years, just to be really 7 of those years, the heart and soul of the team.
Yeah.
to see it. I don't know. I thought I was ready. I saw the photo shoots he did in the off season and stuff. I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then got out there and it was just, man, I couldn't believe it. And then I didn't think they used him enough, um, especially before. I mean, the Chiefs got a decent lead at one point, but like before that, I thought we were going to see more option game. We didn't really see that, but we also saw the Ravens' offensive line getting thrown around. So I think that had something to do with it. I'm expecting more usage out of him. I think it was just first game with him in the system, so they're trying to figure it out. But second year with Greg Roman as offensive coordinator, I don't know. I mean, Todd Monken as offensive coordinator. I thought we were going to see, especially they like to rotate the running backs a lot.
Yeah.
So I think I saw more of Justice Hill than I saw of Derrick Henry last night. Probably because he can play in passing downs, but I just think they'll use Derrick more going forward. I'm not too concerned about that aspect.
The big thing about Derrick Henry, I noticed I said this last night in the broadcast. Derrick Henry always plays with a quarterback under center, and he'd line up like 15 yards from the quarterback. More like 5 minutes over exaggerated, but it's just getting more downhill running. And then Lamar Jackson doesn't really play much under the center. He's more of a shotgun quarterback. So I think over time, it's going to be a little better. They might go a little. I've heard of it. They might go a little pistol within with Lamar and Derrick Henry. I think that'll be a better usage for both of them.
I saw some of that. There was some of that last night.
Yeah, hopefully hopefully they begin to use Derrick Henry more. Justice. I want to shout out Justice Hill. I've always been a big Justice Hill guy. I believe he's out of Clemson. That sounds right, but don't sound right at the same time. If you want to look that up, if you don't want to look that up, it don't really matter. That sounds right. I don't really sound right at the same time. I'm probably way off, but I'm a big Justice Hill guy.
Oklahoma State Cowboy.
I had the orange right, so it's close enough. He impressed me a lot last year, before he got injured. So I think him and Derrick Henry can be a decent. You have like a Derrick Henry for your main running back downs when you need to rush the ball, keep on rushing the ball, and then Justice Hill's gonna be more your passing back, which is perfect for fantasy, might I add. But I think the Ravens offense played a little too conservative last night. They went so many screens to Zay Flowers, which I have Zay Flowers about 4 of my fantasy teams. I don't mind it personally.
Yeah, he had 6 catches, but it was 37 yards. Like he didn't have any big plays downfield. I mean, credit to Steve Spagnuolo. Obviously, we know he's the best defensive coordinator probably. He's going to send a myriad of looks at him. Mark Andrews.
Yeah,
where's bro at? Like, we need to the John Travolta meme from Pulp Fiction. Where he's like looking around. We need to edit that in right now. It's Isaiah Likely season, I guess. I don't know. He looked great out there. Should have had 2 touchdowns as well. So
I remember I was watching the game last night on the couch, and I was thinking, so if I was the Ravens offense coordinator, why is Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely not together out there? Because Isaiah Likely can go line up in the wide receiver spot because he's just that athletic. He would be tight end 1 for about 80% of teams. And Mark Andrews is, of course, your bruising tight end that you need. But I'm like, hold up. This might be Isaiah's Likely really first, only good game of the season, but where's that dude from Oklahoma named Mark Andrews? Yeah. Where? Well, glad I didn't drop to fancy. Tell you that much.
I mean, Likely played amazing in the back half of last year. He's just building off of that. He's just developing.
Yeah.
Credit to him. But I still think Mark Andrews is your best option. Probably Zay Flowers would still be your second best option. But if you can get all 3 of your best options out there, that would be ideal.
Exactly.
So they got to work they got to work to get both of their tight ends out there more. Um,
Well, now that we got the Ravens, I think their defense played really well. Um, their cornerbacks were getting torched.
they had some blown coverages for
Yeah.
sure.
And
Marlon Humphrey, his time might be over. His time might be over.
let's
It's getting rough.
let's just say that's a good pull over to a really good segment here. As a Chiefs segment, sorry, Xavier Worthy is a fast boy.
He is. Yeah.
Very, 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 very fast. I saw him
3
take
touches, 2 touchdowns.
I saw him take that end around for just straight for a touchdown. I'm like,
Great blocking.
amazing blocking. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why? What?
Blame the Bills.
Why? Why is now? I'm just thinking the Bills traded. I want to keep in mind traded with the Chiefs for Patrick Mahomes. I want to point that one out first. That's the first mistake. And then they give Mahomes the fastest receiver in all of combine history. I'm not gonna say in the league.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say he's top 5 fastest in the league, no doubt in my mind.
I'd say top 3.
I can say top 3 too.
And they even have Hollywood out there too, so it's gonna be crazy when he gets back.
I can officially say Rashid Rice is the new slant boy. Thank God I get this off. I can get that off my chest.
He's wide receiver 1 though, for sure.
Very much so. He looked so good yesterday.
7 for 103. It's great stuff.
He looked so good. But remind me of the Michael Thomas days where he ran slants about 80% of the time. But I realized the referees were really stingy. I know they were cracking down on the neutral zone infragment. I think that's what it's called.
It's illegal formation.
Illegal formation.
Ronnie Stanton. They had to be he had to be level with the guard or something, and he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was behind him.
Yeah, Ronnie Stanley got hit a bunch. But the thing is, if you want to call that
The Chiefs were doing it.
Ronnie Stanley, you need to call that also Juwan Taylor on the Chiefs side. Because he was going off. He was going off so Juwan Taylor's so bad.
I think he had the most penalties last year too.
He did. I mean, all in all, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he was Patrick Mahomes last night.
Yeah, he played well.
You can't really, and he wasn't like all-time great quarterback Patrick Mahomes like he usually is. But I feel like once he gets Hollywood Brown back, we're gonna see MVP Mahomes just come back how he used to be. And I'm all for it. I actually enjoy watching Patrick Mahomes. The glazing by the announcers, not so much.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, Colin Collinsworth. I think that's his name.
Chris Collinsworth, which is going absolute ham last night. Yeah.
If I can find the graphic, I might. I'll have the editor edit it in. There was a little graphic that he drew last night of a, yeah. Very, very. I'm like, okay. I see you, Chris. You're already midseason for 4. Wow. And Isaac Checo still ran like he had a little hit like a little toddler when his lollipop got taken away. Taylor Swift got showed 5 times.
Quiet game for
6
Kelsey.
times. Sorry, 6 times.
It was a quiet game.
Yeah.
And Mahomes still played well. So,
hey, all in all, the game was cinema. The game had an amazing finish. I think there's another finish that you could ask for.
Shout out Ravens D-line. I mean, Chiefs D-line. Chiefs D-line. Stopping that run game.
Absolutely.
Chris Jones. I mean, he was Chris Jones, but everybody else played well too. And Jalen Watson, Snead replacement. Thought he looked good out there. And then, McDuffie, obviously. We know who he is. He's elite.
Yeah, McDuffie did have a few blown coverages. I know he had one to Zay Flowers over the middle for like a 6-yard reception.
He made that big tackle on Zay Flowers, though.
Yeah. And then
on that 4th down.
Absolutely, yeah. And then I don't know who was covering Rashawn Bateman on that final throw down to the field.
Nobody.
Go ahead and put fries in the bag, whoever that was,
Yeah.
because that was that was terrible coverage. And I don't know what you're like Rashawn Bateman. He's like 5'8", right? Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Maybe 5'7",
No,
honestly.
I don't know.
I think he's on the shorter side.
Pretty sure Zay Flowers is like 5'8". I thought Rashad Bateman was like 6 foot. Bro's 6'1", yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm
But still, he made the
probably
catch of
wrong.
his life.
That is very true. I think it was only catch of the day for him too, if I'm not mistaken. I had him on my fantasy teams, but not like starting.
He may have had a couple more. Nobody really, minus Isaiah Likely, nobody really.
Yeah, he had
went
2
off
receptions for 53 yards, so it wasn't too bad. You have anything else? Anything else to add on that game, Gabe?
I got through most. Yeah, I got through all my notes that I had on it.
All right, perfect. So I think that game was absolute cinema. Great ending. Patrick Mahomes is probably going to be a good MVP. I think I had him as MVP. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think we did.
Yeah, I think we both did on that one. But now that we got
Let's
that
get into this contract talk.
Absolutely. So the big thing this offseason the 49ers had to worry about was contracts. Obviously, they focused so much on this whole Brandon Ayuk situation that another guy, he's pretty decent, if I say so myself.
Yeah, they're only good linemen.
Yeah, Trent Williams needed a contract really bad. They ended up restructuring his contract, if I'm not mistaken. Gabe, you want to go into the details of that contract?
It's 3 years, like slightly over 82 million. 48 million is guaranteed. I'd also add in they restructured Debo's deal as well, so they got a couple things done. They got, I think it's 16 million cap space created between doing both of those. So great work by them. They're cooked if he didn't play Monday night. Absolutely cooked. Jets would have feasted. So good to get that done. Even though, that age is a factor, but like he hasn't shown a decline yet. And, hoping that's not this year, because that would be a lot of money to pay a guy who becomes average. I think he's going to be like an Andrew Whitworth situation where he plays, what he played was like 41 or 42 or something like, crazy.
I think it was 41.
He was old, and he was still pretty good even when he was retiring. So I think this was a great move by them. He's the only guy that can really get consistent like stops from edge rushers. He can pretty much. I think he's gonna be able to hold up against even the Jets D line, who have a good array of players.
I do agree. I also want to today. Pat Freiermuth ended up getting a 4-year extension for $48 million. Another great deal. Really good deal for the Steelers. Mm-hmm. Really good value. I think Pat is going to be a top 10 tight end in the league. Probably the back end of the top 10.
A top 15 for now.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, they do have a very tall dude, which I think he's pretty good, and Darnell Washington right behind Pat Freiermuth. I think Darnell Washington's having like a breakout year this year. I like.
Can't trust their QB play.
Yeah, was just about to go into that after Cameron Hayward actually gets another extension.
Yep.
I actually did not know about this one. So can you tell me a little bit about it?
I had it on there. It's just brief because he's still obviously one of the top players at his position. It's 3 years for $45 million, 16 million guaranteed. He's obviously an older guy too. 36 maybe. But again, trying like Trent Williams hasn't shown any signs of decline. Still a big part of what they do. So good for them to get that done. And then I believe Jalen Ramsey's extension happened today.
Yeah, I just saw.
I believe so.
It was a 3-year, $72 million.
Yeah.
And then, if I'm not
Um,
mistaken, Patrick Surtain also got an extension these last few
it was
days.
yesterday or a couple days ago, maybe
Yeah, it was. I knew it was the highest paid defensive back in the whole in NFL history. Um,
until Jalen Ramsey. Yeah.
yeah, and this. I mean, it was well deserved for both of them. Honestly, I think Jalen Ramsey, of course, on the older side, he's losing a step or
Yeah.
two, but he can still lock down perfectly fine. And Patrick Surtain's the best cornerback in the league. He deserves that money more than anybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody
I
that
think,
needed a contract rescission and restructuring got it done. That needed it, especially going into
well,
this week. Besides our last thing before we go into all the games,
yeah.
um, Jamar, what you doing, buddy? Um,
I
so
mean, he deserves the money, but it's still a year early for him too. So I could see both sides. I don't know if he's playing it, especially having an extra year. I don't know if he's playing it the best personally. These are some things I think he said in a press conference or something. Um, Today is the deadline, apparently, according to him, in his mind. That's what I read. Um, he, but he also said he thinks they're in reach of a deal, which I've read some rumors of the past couple of days that because he's reported, that's why they have a deal, and it's maybe not set in stone yet, but it is going to be done before Sunday.
yeah,
And he said he was a game time decision. That's what he called himself.
I mean, the way I look at it, T Higgins is already doubtful for the game. Jamar Chase, if you're playing this game, you're losing money. That's the whole big deal with this whole situation. There's Even if Jamar plays, he's going to be limited from what I've seen,
Yep.
which is so just unbelievably dumb. They could have just completely avoided the situation if Jamar just would have sucked it up and played because he deserves money. I mean, obviously,
He does, yeah.
but you're still going off top 5 draft pick money going into a whole another year you have.
Yeah.
I mean, I say just get through this season, see how you play, and then go into the off season asking for more money.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's two sides to the coin. It's because he dealt with some injury issues. I don't know. I think was it only 1 year he's played fully healthy, I believe. Not missed a game. So if the Bengals go ahead and play him, pay him. If they want to go ahead and pay him the money, they're probably going to get him at a lower price point if he plays this season fully healthy. If he plays the season fully healthy, I can only imagine the money he's going to want to demand if he puts up a really good year.
I completely agree.
So if you go ahead and get it done now, you're going to save yourself some money, but then you also have the risk of him getting injured again and missing games. So I understand both sides.
I mean, I personally think they should wait a year to pay him. I know Joe Burrow is one of the highest paid quarterbacks. I think if not top 3,
He's tied.
you tied. Okay, tied for the
There's
most.
three-way tie for
Yeah.
average salary.
Um, and then if Jamar Chase has a fully healthy year, he's going to be asking dang near Jefferson, CD type money, which is okay because he
Yeah.
deserves that. I mean,
If he plays that well this year, yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
He deserves that type of money because I think he's just as talented as them. He just can't stay healthy to show that talent that he can be the top 1, top 2, top 3 wide receiver in the league.
Yeah.
As long as he stays healthy, if he stays healthy, he's gonna get it back. I think he's gonna get it back no matter what. Personally,
Mhm.
it's just we don't. You just if you're the front office of the Bengals, you have to be very, very careful of how you play it and how you just go along with it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's all the questions,
Yeah.
if I'm not
I,
mistaken.
I think we covered them all. We can
Perfect.
go ahead and hop into these games.
Absolutely.
There's a lot to get to.
All right, so let's go with the first game that we have on our board. Steelers at Falcons. I think this is gonna be a lot better of a game than people are expecting. Steelers are coming with a little bit of a quarterback thing. Russell Wilson is questionable for the game still. I would love to see Justin Fields. Big Justin Fields guy, always have been and always will be, as Gabe is not.
He stinks. Yeah, he stinks.
But
I don't trust either of them. I don't care who plays.
That's fair. Also, on the Falcons side, you have to see how Kirk Cousins is going to do back from Achilles. Because personally, he's not no Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is coming back gunslinging already in practice. Kirk Cousins was a little more methodical coming back.
Mm-hmm. In new coordinator, absolutely. Which is probably a great thing for them, based on Arthur Smith's play calling ability.
Arthur Smith
who will get his revenge in his first game? Yeah. I doubt it.
As long as
Darnell Washington might get some run there.
Hey, I'm all for it. As long as I get the ball to George Pickens, I'll be okay.
Yeah. No Roman Wilson for him either this game. So
yeah, I did see that.
I'm trying to even think.
Calvin Austin.
I can't. Oh God! Stop.
Hold on. I'm trying.
Don't say any more.
I'm trying. I can't think of wide receiver 2 or 3. Oh, no.
That's not good.
Oh, that's not good at all.
They're gonna have to lean on. I guess they're sort of revamped O-line and Najee Harris and
Jalen Warren, Pat.
Yeah, Jalen Warren.
Yeah, I guess
it's going to be. I mean, their defense is going to keep them in the game. That's how it always is.
I mean, to be fair, Falcons do have that pretty decent running back. That scares me very much.
Yeah. How are they going to use him?
Yeah, very much true. Because I also heard that Tyler Algier is also a big part of the offense too. Which
he's good.
I'm all for it. I love Tyler Algier. Oh my gosh, I can't say that last name. I wouldn't mind some two RB sets with those two. They play two different play styles. Bijan is your crafty, your shifty. We saw that last year versus the Jags, where he just absolutely lost a man in the sauce. And then Tyler is more of your power back, the man that I want to run through between the tackles, run through somebody at a shorter stature.
Yeah.
And then you still have the GOAT tight end, the man who's going to come back this year. Even though I didn't draft him in any of my fantasy leagues because I was always scared. Kyle Pitts is going to be back. He was a top 5 pick for a reason, and he's about to show it this year. Darnell Mooney is going to play a lot better this year, and I think he's going to show out this game. Drake London is going to moss somebody. All in all, I think the Falcons are going to win this game.
I agree, yeah.
I don't think there's really any way around this. The only thing that scares me is the Falcons pass rush, but you kind of got that a Band-Aid over it right now. You can worry about it.
Judon helps, but he doesn't fix it.
Exactly. You have a little Band-Aid over that problem. If that's your worst problem, that's okay.
Yeah. I picked the Falcons 27-14.
Yeah.
I just don't trust the Steelers to score a lot.
I actually second that one, 27-14 over here as well. And then just going, this next game would be I think this next game would be close. Me personally.
I do.
So next game we have here is Cardinals at Bills. See, now the at Bills is the hard part here.
Yeah.
But Bills, even though they have Josh Allen, great, amazing quarterback, and James Cook, and Dalton Kincaid. That's the only ones that scare me. I mean, the wide receivers are Khalil Shakur, Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
Name me the wide receiver 1.
That's one of my keys to this game is the Bills receivers stepping up I need somebody to show me something.
Exactly. From what I've seen, Khalil Shakur is the wide receiver one. Samuel's the two. Coleman's the three. Now Coleman behind Samuel at the three is sad because I mean
Yeah,
Samuel. I was always a good Samuel believer on the Panthers, but since he took that big step back on the Commanders, I mean you kind of had to just hope for something with him.
yeah,
Khalil Shakur played really good on that back end of last year when Stephon Diggs was being Stephon Diggs and just being a crybaby.
yeah,
And of course, Keon Coleman is going to be a hit or miss prospect. He's not really good at getting separation. Um, and he's decent after the catch, but he's a jump ball guy in my eyes. He was
hmm
like that at Florida State. He's gonna be like that again in the NFL. This offensive
yeah.
line scares me. Um,
Both teams, yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's just all in all, who's gonna have like the better? I think the better defensive games. And
yeah.
personally, I'm gonna point this one to the Cardinals as my. This is one of my big upsets I have this week. I actually have the Cardinals.
I have. What do you have?
I have the Cardinals winning 21-13. I think it's gonna be a slow, methodical game. A lot of running, a lot of running.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game either. I picked the Bills 2017. It's home game. Josh Allen's better than Kyler Murray, so and then but yeah, Cardinals defense. It Bills defense concerns me, but I think the Cardinals slightly more concern me on
Yeah,
defense. They got to show some kind of improvement.
I mean, I love. Hopefully, Kyler is his second year back from. It's his full season back from ACL injury. Last year he played like his former self at times, but other times he played like Joshua Dobbs before we went to Minnesota.
Yeah,
Um, so it's just hopefully that full year back. Even though Call of Duty is coming out, hopefully Kyle Murray goes back to the MVP form, which I think he should be. I think he's a very talented quarterback. He's a very underrated quarterback, and I think he just nudges out just nudge out the
edges.
Bills edges. Very like edging. He's edging the Bills. That's what I'm saying. Now he's not going to outperform Josh Allen. Josh Allen probably have like 4 turnovers, but also 400 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Like my road to glory quarterback when I play some mid team. James Conner is going to go in probably for a score, and then Mark Harrison is probably just going to absolute moss somebody. Now, who's their wide
Yeah,
receiver two? I think Rondo Moore. I don't know.
Michael Wilson.
See, I love Michael Wilson. And then outside of that,
Yeah, he's underrated.
who's outside of that? Exactly. Oh, Trey McBride. Oh,
Trey McBride.
yeah,
Yeah,
love Trey
Trey
McBride.
McBride.
But that's all my thing. I'll let you have fun with this next game: Titans versus Bears.
All right, it's not gonna get too crazy. I don't actually
Yeah.
have a lot, surprisingly. Um, I'll start with like injury stuff, I guess. No Jamal, no Otis Reese this game. Mid-season Jamal Adams is in form. Otis Reese had a chance to probably start at one point, but the Ernest Jones trade, Kenneth Murray seems locked. He's a captain, so I think those are going to be our two starters. So I'm not too concerned about no Otis Reese. Jamal Adams was never going to start anyway at safety. D Hop tore his MCL 6 weeks ago, apparently. We never really got confirmation on what the injury was in training camp, but it apparently was an MCL tear. I think it was only a grade 1 or 2, so he's been practicing this week. From what I hear, he's full go at practice. Some sleeves on his leg during practice, but I think today, I don't think he had a sleeve on today when he practiced, or maybe it was yesterday. He's listed as questionable right now. He says he's ready to go. We'll see if it's just a decoy role for him. They're just going to try to work him back. Thank God it's not last year. We actually have decent other receivers at this point. Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd. I'll just hop right into. I guess I'll stay on the offensive side. We need to have balance on offense. Mike Vrabel's gone, so we don't have to run up the middle on every first down. Thank God. It's no longer the '90s. I'm pretty confident Brian Callahan's going to bring some balance to the offense. For once, in I don't even remember how long, probably Arthur Smith. I'm just excited to see how we use the running backs because they can both stay on the field. It's not Derrick Henry. We don't have to take him off the field on third downs or anything. I still don't really know who RB1 is going to be, but hoping it's Ty J. Spears' legacy year. We'll see how it goes. I think one of the big position group battles that we have an advantage in is interior D-line versus their interior O-line. Simmons and Sweat are big boys. The Bears, from what I looked, they got Nate Davis, former Titan. He allowed 29 pressures in only 11 games last year. Not worried about him. Coleman Shelton was pretty not good with the Rams, especially on pass protection. That's where Jeffrey Simmons is going to eat him alive. And then Tevin Jenkins, who I believe was drafted as a tackle a few years ago, but he plays guard now. That's the trenches, the interior trenches is where I think we have a humongous advantage. Now, I think the Bears are obviously going to want to pass the ball, but I feel better about that position group battle than pretty much every other one. And I mean, obviously, we're the Titans, so you got to talk about our O line. It cannot get worse than last year or the year before last. I'll say Andre Dillard's name. He was horrible last year. I won't say the year before that. We don't say his name. I just can't see, even as a rookie, J.C. Latham being, maybe not specifically in this game. I think he'll struggle this game because week one, Montez Sweat's a pretty good football player. I think he's going to have his issues, but throughout the year, I just don't think he can get worse than what we had last year. Skoronski's going to take a step this year. We brought in Lloyd Cushenberry. The interior of the Bears' defensive line is kind of questionable at best. I'm not really concerned about that. Luke Cushenberry is one of the highest rated pass blocking centers last year. Right guard, the right side of the line in overall is pretty questionable. Dylan Raduns is probably going to be our right tackle or right guard. Gross. Nicholas Petit Frere, he stinks. We drafted him a few years ago from Ohio State. I believe he's actually starting at tackle, if I'm not mistaken. So the right side concerns me a whole lot, even though they're older than the left side. But other than that, and our linebackers, you bring in Ernest Jones, obviously, who's just one of the best pass rushing linebackers from last year. Coverage-wise, him and Kenneth Murray, I don't know what kind of duo that's going to be. Probably a stinky one. If they can just, besides Azeez Al-Shaair last year, I can't even really remember who our solidified second linebacker was in the middle. It was horrible. The whole defense was bad. They couldn't cover anything. Thank God Snead and Awuzie are ready to go at corner. They've been practicing all week. I can't believe we actually have good cornerbacks. What year is this? We got to throw, and this is something Denard Wilson, our new DC, has been talking about. We got to throw a myriad of looks at Caleb. The first game as a rookie, I think quarterbacks are first overall picks are 0-15-1, I believe, in their debuts. I think I saw that stat somewhere since like 2000 something. So Denard Wilson's a guy that likes to send pressure anyway. So I think he's going to know what to do against a rookie like this. Even if he's highly touted, we know he can make every throw. And they have a really good set of receivers. But I'm actually confident in our secondary. I haven't said that in years. I'm still waking up to the idea of us actually having NFL caliber cornerbacks. Hopefully they stay healthy. And I am going to be picking my Titans 23-20. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think the defenses are going to have really good days. Especially you got two young quarterbacks here. Obviously, Levis's first full year as a starter. Caleb Williams' first ever game. So, yeah. But I will be taking the Titans.
I'm sorry. I'm taking Bears on this one. I love the
Yeah, I mean
Titans.
it's the common pick.
It,
It's the common
I,
pick.
I agree. I I think it's gonna be close as well. I have it as 24 to 17. Um, I, it, I think I'm actually a lot more scared of Will Levis. How he's gonna play. Because at times last year he was very questionable. He has a great deep ball. One of the best deep balls in the league, honestly, in my opinion. Um, but the thing is, the only person that can really get out like that is going to be Calvin Ridley, and just it's going to be up to him if he's going to be able to catch the ball or not.
I
Yeah,
don't think we're going to be a deep ball team.
no, I completely, and that's. But I think the problem is that as Will loves his strength, so you kind of just have to hopefully play by hand. You got to get him comfortable at first.
Yeah.
You have two amazing, two good running backs. Tyler Spears is primed for a breakout year. Tony Pollard is great in a two running back set. But it's just going to come down as Will Levis going to make the throws that he needs to. On the other
Yeah.
side, you have to get Caleb Williams comfortable and see if you got first start out with a few easy throws to Swift, to a Duze over the middle, Cole Kmet on like a little flat, just something here and there, little dinks here and there. Just slowly go down the field. The two very young quarterbacks playing this game. It's just going to come down. I think these two teams are really evenly matched for this first game at least. Now, if you're talking about this later in the season, that's a completely different story. But right now, the first week, Caleb Williams' first game, he played a little bit in the preseason, but his first true game, he was a first overall pick for a reason, and probably one of the better prospects that we've had over the past 10 years. Right, I think right behind Trevor Lawrence, honestly, and we've all seen how Trevor Lawrence panned out so far. But I'm gonna take Bears 24-17 in a really close matchup. I think I trust the Bears offense a little bit more than the Titans offense. And then going into the next game, we have the Patriots versus the Bengals. I think there's not really much to say about this. We've talked about Jamar and T. Bengals are going to win this game. I don't care who's out there for them.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is going to be common Joe Burrow. Jacoby Brissett's not that great as a backup quarterback. I mean, he's temporarily. He's temporary.
Yeah.
When Drake May comes in, it could be a completely different story once Drake May matures. But right now, Bengals, I have 28-6 winning. I don't really have much notes on it. It's kind of this obvious pick.
I got 24-13. I think I had the Bengals at like 30, I think, but then T was doubtful. I would pretty much assume he's not going to play, and then Chase, you don't really know. So I think that knocked him down a little bit. The Pats defense, I think they'll make plays every now and then. They'll be able to disrupt the offense, but they're not going to be able to stop it, and certainly not make up for their own offense, which is going to be
abysmal,
pretty hard to look at. The key for Bengals defense is defensive line. I've said this. I'm concerned about their run stopping ability. I think that's something the Patriots are going to turn to. Ramondre Stevenson's really underrated, and I mean he's their best weapon on offense. So they're obviously going to try to get him involved, and especially they're going to be looking at the interior of this Bengals D line, thinking they have an advantage, even though the Patriots O line's not great either. I think that's where the game's going to be won for the Bengals on defense, is if they can get some run stopping ability.
Do you think there's any way the Patriots win this game?
Even if Chase and T are out, I don't.
It kind of feels like a trap game in a way. I don't know why. If they had, I think if they didn't have to go, if they had something like, I don't know, Josh Dobbs, Taylor Heineke, just Mike White, like a backup quarterback like that.
Tannehill,
Ta-
he's still
Matt
out there.
Corral. I'm just saying.
Okay,
it'd be
get real.
a little more of a trap game, but there's no way the Bengals lose this game. If they do,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have fun talking about them.
Yep.
The next game we have here is the Texans at the Colts. Two division rivals. Two, I think, really great teams. Two, actually, not great, good teams. One great, one good. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Colts it's still a little iffy on me. Of course, it's Anthony Richardson, the big story out of Colts. How is he going to play? Last year as a passer, he was okay. But as a runner, he had 4 touchdowns in 5 games. That's Jalen Hurts type numbers without the tush push. That's Cam Newton numbers in the prime, rushing wise. Just passing wise, he's not. He wasn't drafted as a passer. We all knew that. Come out of Florida, he's a freak athlete. He showed that freakish athleticness last year.
They're going to say freakiness, and I was like,
the little freakiness from Anthony Richardson last year. Unfortunately, there's no more Gridiron Heights rookie Anthony Richardson. That was a good time last year when I saw that. But on the other side, you got C.J. Stroud, a quarterback from his draft class, a guy that came out of nowhere. I think really, not really came out of nowhere. They didn't really expect him to play as good as he did, considering so much was like against him and on Bryce Young and on Anthony Richardson, even on Will Levis, and so much against C.J. Stroud. And I'm, for one, saying I'm sorry on that one. I was if you want to say C.J. Stroud too, it's okay. We all were. But I'm gonna take Texans here, even though I think that the Colts will dominate the run game in this game. Within Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson, just the Texans' explosiveness potential with C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs. I'm gonna add Damian Pierce into this mix a little bit. Joe Mixon. Still a really good offensive line, really good defense, led by Jalen Petrie, absolute dog, Derek Stingley. We love Derek Stingley around here for obvious reasons. It's just I think the explosiveness of the Texans will keep up with anything that the Colts do. I actually had the Texans winning 34-28. Actually, I lied. 34-21. Sorry, I read that one wrong. 34-21.
yeah. I had 34-17 for Texans. The key, Stroud's got to start off hot. The whole offense has to. It's still not out of the realm of possibility that he could have a sophomore slump.
Yeah.
We've seen it before. I do think, I don't think he will, but I just think some people aren't even like considering that it could happen. And it's like, we've seen it happen before. But not every second-year quarterback has this good of a weapons room around them.
Yeah.
The offensive line, there are spots where I'm questioning. Laramie Tunsil's still really good. But overall, we'll see how they play. I don't think the Colts D-line is that great anyway, so we'll see. Although I do expect a big game out of Leatu Latu. I think he's going to have a really good year. DeForest Buckner's still there. He's getting up there in age, but he still played well last year. The secondary of the Colts is where, man, it's really tough to look at.
Yeah, I agree.
They got Kenny Moore, who's probably the best slot corner in the game, but you want to keep him in the slot. You don't want to put him on the outside. So really, Juju Brents is going to be I believe, their top boundary corner. I don't know much about the guy. I think this is his second year, so we'll see how the secondary holds up. That's a concern of mine. And then just seeing how AR has progressed. You talked about it. Passing wise, obviously, if he can stay healthy, that's also something to look at. Decision making still needs work. Needed work at Florida. Needed work last year. I think this year that's going to take a step. Hopefully the accuracy can go up. I can't remember the number when he was at Florida, his senior year, or junior year, whatever that was. He was like 50 something completion percentage or something like that.
It
was
wasn't
bad.
good.
Yeah, I think he'll take a step this year, but just in this first game, I'll have to see how that actually looks. Something to note: the Colts have not won a season opener since 2013. I did not know this. I was gonna pick the Texans anyway, but this just kind of was like, okay, I think I'm making a safe pick here. I don't want to flip to Florida like I did for the Florida Miami game and look stupid.
All right. So the next game we have here is Jacksonville Jaguars going down to Miami to play the Dolphins. I think this game is another decently evenly matched on some little sides. Of course, the big headline with quarterbacks is Trevor Lawrence versus Tua. Turn the ball over. I want to see how this offense looks. I really think it's probably like a mid offense like we've seen before. You have our Lord and Savior Brian Thomas Jr. You have Gabe Davis, Evan Ingram, and Travis Etienne, and still Tanks Bigsby.
Christian Kirk's coming back.
And Christian Kirk,
healthy.
yeah. They paid big money for Christian Kirk anyway, so hopefully they get to use him as much as they want to. It's just hopefully everything. I'm hoping Trevor Lawrence has a good year. I've always been a big Trevor Lawrence believer. Coming out of Clemson, and of course after that rookie year of his that we really don't want to talk about that much.
It's a wash year.
Yeah, absolutely. He just hasn't had the best development people with him. And last year I thought he was going to take a step up, but he was injured. The whole Jags team was just getting injured. It was just rough for him. Hopefully this year they take a good step. But they had to go on the road to go play Tua and two really fast dudes. Tyreek Hill, I think his name. And then Jalen Waddle. Oh, and then they got some fast running backs too, and Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert. Some fast dudes, very fast dudes. That Jags defensive line is not going to go through the Dolphins offensive line, and it's just I don't think there's a way the Jags can win it, but I think this is going to be I don't think there's any way they can keep up with the Miami offense, depending how Tua plays. Tua is always a wild card in this offense. He's a polar bear in San Antonio, feels like. I mean, he's there to get the ball. He's a game manager. If you ask him to throw 40 yards downfield, there's a 70% chance he might be able to do that. He doesn't have arm power. It's proven.
Yeah.
It's proven over time. He has the accuracy. It's there. Just no arm power to get it there. So it's they're gonna have to get Tyreek and Jalen Waddle to open space. It's the second year going with this offense, I believe. They're second and third year. I can't remember off the top of my head.
So
hopefully Jalen Waddle stays healthy this year. But all in all, I have the Dolphins winning. I think it's gonna be another big off explosion with the Dolphins. It's gonna be 35 to 20.
I have 34-21 for the Dolphins. The keys, I think the Jags D line versus the Dolphins O line is gonna be interesting to watch. Um, Josh Hines Allen, Trayvon Walker, I think is going to take a step this year. I think the Dolphins lost a couple guys on the offensive line. I'm concerned. Teron Armstead, he still plays well, but like if he gets injured, which he is injury prone, it's going to be kind of a disaster for them at any point this year. That's something I'm going to be concerned with them the whole year. The offensive game for the Jags, if the receivers can step up, I think can play well enough to keep them in the game for at least some duration. I don't think it'll be the whole game. I think the Dolphins are going to run away at some point in this game. Literally run away
I was thinking,
because yeah, the secondary of the Jags, there's some spots. Tyson Campbell's good. I think he's underrated. On the back half, I'm a little bit concerned. I do think the front seven for the Jags is going to have a pretty good game, and that's going to be important if the Jags do want to win this game. Same for the Dolphins front seven. They're a bit depleted. They don't have Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. They're still rehabbing from injury. I think I'm able to get consistent pressure, and they lost Christian Wilkins to the Raiders. I'm a bit worried for the Dolphins defense. Yeah. You still got Jalen Ramsey back there, which is going to help because the Jags are want to do some deep shots to Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis. Those are big deep threat guys. So I think if Brian Thomas can immediately make an impact down the field, Gabe Davis can be more consistent than he was in Buffalo, where it was kind of like one in every 4 games.
Yeah.
He could give you a big play
that's
and a lot of good stats. If he can play more consistently, Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram are going to get theirs as long as they're out there. We'll see how the Jags O-line looks. They had some young pieces, so they should take a step up this year. And then obviously ETN was, he had a great first half of last year. I think he was like top 5 in rushing for a long time. Towards the back half, fell off a little bit, but yeah. I think that was more of the play of the offense in general. So we'll see. I don't really think I could see a world where the Jags win this game. Some things that have to go horribly wrong for the Dolphins. But I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be a major blowout by any means.
Time to cook now. So Panthers are coming to the Saints. Pause. It's fine. I'm excited. Gonna be on my couch watching this game, obvious reasons. But I'm just gonna get a little bit into the injury report here. So right now, the big thing is Marshall Lattimore was in limited practice the first half of the week, but his final 2 practices he's been in full practice, full pads. He's right now as listed as unspecified, which I really hope he plays. Pete Warner is about the same thing, but the big thing we're actually probably going to lose is A.T. Perry. He did not practice at all this week with a hand injury. He's listed as questionable, and then we are losing Jalen Ford, which is one of our more depth linebackers who can still come in as like a middle linebacker too, and come off the edge for us. He's going to be out this week. Willie Gay's actually also listed as questionable, and then Nick Saladerby is also listed as questionable, and he's one of our depth offensive linemen, but he's right behind our left guard Lucas Patrick. So hopefully he's okay because we need all the help we can get. All right, now to get into the fun here. So I'm excited. So the big thing with the Saints. How is the offense going to play? Your center guard, Eric McCoy and Cesar Reese, are really good players. We're not gonna spend too much time on them. They're good. how's Fuaga gonna do? He looked good during the preseason. I'm not gonna lie, he looked pretty decent. But the guy on the other tackle did not look good. Trevor Penning looks absolute terrible. I don't want to talk about Lucas. Lucas Patrick is actually probably just as bad. It sucks having Ryan Ramczyk out because if Ryan Ramczyk was in, Trevor Penning could move to guard, and I didn't have to have this much worry. But with Ryan Ramczyk probably out for the year, I'm stuck having to watch Trevor Penning do something. Um, Derek Carr is just hopefully we get back half of the year Derek Carr where he actually was able to play some sort of football. Um, Alvin Kamara have taken a lot of steps back since Drew Brees left, which is for obvious reasons. Drew Brees was a threat wherever he happened. Um, but hopefully he gets to step up here. You still got Jamal Williams as your backup, so there's good 1-2 punch. Hopefully Jamal Williams get more touches, and we know how to use him correctly on the goal line. Hopefully he has same production as Detroit. And actually, since A.T. Perry is questionable, Cedric Wilson will be our wide receiver 3. I don't know how I feel about it. Bub Means has so many drop issues. Mason Tipton also dropped issues. We were kind of banking on A.T. Perry being healthy. But I think Cedric Wilson is a decent gadget guy that can go underneath and get some sort of yardage at the catch. So I'm not too mad about it. It's just that offense. The big pointers is how we're gonna play. They have to play well because our defense is gonna pretty much shut off this Panthers offense either way. With their defense, you got Cam Jordan, you got Chase Young, you got hopefully Pete Warner, you got Demir Davis, hopefully Willie Gay, Paulson Devo, hopefully Marshawn Lattimore, Honey Badger, Jordan Howard, Alontae Taylor. That's a great defense, top 10 defense. I'm not even gonna have to worry about them. In the middle, you still got Nathan Shepard and Brian Breesy. Peyton Turner's there, which we need to let go of Peyton Turner. That's just me. And of course, you got Kool-Aid McKinstry. JT Gray played really good during the preseason. So hopefully he gets back on the field a little bit too. And then, of course, if Willie Gay and Jalen Ford is out, our secondary linebacker is my favorite. Anthony Orgy. We are so back. We are so back.
I knew y'all had an orgy. I saw him in the preseason game.
I didn't know we had an orgy either. And then I saw him now. Since Willie Gay is questionable, it could be an orgy on the field. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's going to be an orgy for sure.
I'm excited. I mean, the Panthers defense, when really looking at their depth chart, isn't that bad. So you got Derek Brown, you got Shaq Thompson, Jadeveon Clowney, Jordan Fuller, Xavier Woods, and the guy that scares me the second most outside Derek Brown, and J.C. Horn. But their depth is absolutely terrible. That's gonna leave it at that. You got someone decent and Jamie Sheriff and Trevor Wallace, but that's really about it. Josie Jewell is not a starting caliber linebacker at all. Shy Tuttle is coming back for revenge. He played a little bit on the Saints. He's not good. A'Shawn Robinson isn't terrible by any means, but he isn't that good either. So it's pretty much going to be Derek Brown, and I'm pretty sure Derek Brown's going to be lined up against what's his name? I forgot his name already. Not Trevor Penning, but Lucas Patrick, which is going to be terrible if that happens. That's going to be just. I'm going to have to pray for that. Hopefully that don't happen. If not, Derek Brown's going to line up against Cherry Penny. No matter what, I'm screwed. Hopefully it don't happen. Hopefully we have. I think it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be at home. The dome is gonna be rocking. The big thing about the Panthers, they're actually out with both their tight ends, and Ian Thomas and Tommy Tremble. So I think their tight end will be Jatavion Sanders out of Texas, which that's kind of scary because that's a man.
Yeah.
That's a man amongst boys.
Yeah.
But if he's being behind Tommy Trimble, Ian Thomas, I'm not that scared. Their offense is, of course, is Bryce Young. It depends how Bryce Young's going to play. The offensive line is better. You got Taylor Moton, Robert Hunt, Damian Lewis, Ikino Kwanu, or Austin Corbett is okay. I don't really have a PFF grade on him. I think he played a little bit last year. Wasn't that good. You're looking at a big step up out of Akeem Ekwonu. He's a great run blocker, not the greatest of pass blockers. And of course, you're asking a lot out of Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders as your wide receiver 1A, wide receiver 1B, while Jonathan Brooks is out. And of course, the wide receivers of the Panthers, you got Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo, Xavier Legette, which is a decent wide receiver core compared to what they had last year. They got 2 new upgrades with Deontay Johnson and Xavier Legette. I don't have to watch Jonathan Mingo try to be a wide receiver 1 after last year, and especially Adam Thielen after just torching me throughout the early 2010s. Sorry, I had a sad moment for a second there. But all in all, we should going to take care of business. I'm not too worried. I think their defense is going to get on the Panthers. Our defense is going to get on the Panthers. I think we're going to beat them 28-20. Sorry, wrong one again. 21-17.
I have 17-10. I don't have too much else to add, so we can just hop into the next game, which is going to take like 10 seconds to talk about. Vikings at the Giants.
Terrible game.
I got the Vikings.
Oh my god!
I got the Vikings 14-10, but like I will not be watching. So
I will not be there. I actually have the Giants 14-10.
That's
cool. Whatever. Honestly, this next game is going to be probably just as bad. You got the Raiders at Chargers. Yeah. I mean, the Raiders got a good defensive line. If that helps.
9-17 Chargers.
I also have 9-17 Chargers. Next game. I'm trying to get to that game. We have the Broncos at Seahawks. A little bit better game. I might tune in every now and then. But we talked a lot about Seahawks during the offseason with how Geno Smith is going to be. And then if not Geno Smith, you got Sam Howell with Sam Howell. I'm for it. I'm just saying, I'm all for it. If they just slide Sam Howell in, be a gunslinger within DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jason, easy peasy. But the problem is Seahawks offensive line is still not the greatest in the world. They upgraded a lot over the past few years since Russell Wilson was there. But this this Broncos defense is horrendous. Keep in mind, outside of Patrick Surtain, horrendous, terrible, and just in that, I'm gonna go Seahawks. I had right here 28-6 because Bo Nix is gonna get absolutely whooped.
Yeah, I have 24-10 Seahawks. It's Seahawks receivers versus the Broncos secondary. That's a key to this game.
Yeah.
Bo Nix in a hostile environment for his first game. concerns me. And hopefully we see a new era of Seahawks defense under Mike McDonald because they need it. It's been pretty bad the past few years, really. Um, but I don't really see the Seahawks losing this game. Um, I think they have a really good home field advantage too. It's kind of underrated. Um, and we just don't know what Bo Nix is going to look like in his first game.
Yeah.
Which brings us into a pretty decent game in Cowboys at the Browns. I think this is going to be a defensive
I
game.
completely agree.
I have 17-14 Browns.
Yeah.
It could go either way.
See, I don't know which way I want to go with this. I've been on the fence for this actually for the past 2 days since I've started planning to do the notes. I still really don't know because the offenses for each team has one major flaw. Okay, with the Browns offense, you have pedophile at quarterback, and then
No Nick Chubb.
no Nick Chubb. You have Jerome Ford. Okay, that's a rough one. They have good wide receivers. They have Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy. Okay, that's a good wide receiver core. On the other side, Cowboys, you have Dak Prescott. Okay, good quarterback. Good. Who's he throw to outside of CD and Brandon Cooks? My point exactly. Jalen Tolbert, actually. That's your answer. And then Rico Dowell is the wide receiver. Running back one.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a real person until this offseason. And then you got 90-year-old Zeke, and then Dalvin Cook is running back three. I don't know if Dalvin Cook's even on the team. I think he's in practice squad. Now, if this was a team, if the Dallas Cowboys was a team of 2016, they're winning the championship, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Because Brandon Cooks in 2016, keep in mind, I think he was on the Saints. Pretty good. Now, no CD, unfortunately. But Dak Prescott 2016, dog. Zeke 2016. Carried my fantasy team. Dalvin Cook 2016 made me fall on my knees and cry. I mean, in 2016 this team was great, but in 2024 this offense is kind of old.
Yeah.
But I think the defenses stack up so well with each other. The big thing is going to be the secondaries. Especially, I'm actually more concerned with the Cowboys secondaries than the Browns secondary. You have Trayvon Diggs. Hot take. I don't think Deron Bland is that good of a cornerback. He got put in.
He's out.
He's out for the game? Oh. But that makes my life.
He got injured a couple weeks ago.
That makes my life so much easier because I did not notice that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, foot surgery.
Okay, well, that's duly noted. I do remember seeing that now. Now I'm thinking about it. But you look at the Bears secondary. You got Denzel Ward, which I don't know if he's fully cleared from his concussion yet. I think he is. I'm not 100% sure. I forgot to look at that. You got Greg Newsome. I think he's a pretty good cornerback. But I have the Browns winning this probably like a walk-off field goal. I have them winning 24-21.
Yeah.
And then
I think it'll be a defensive game
absolutely.
For sure.
But I think there's going to be some small offensive firepower. These two teams are evenly matched up in so many good ways. But this next game, there isn't really that evenly matched up. It's Commanders at the Buccaneers. The big headline with the Commanders is Jaden Daniels. Yes, we finally get to watch Jaden Daniels play in an NFL game. Now, who he's throwing to outside Terry McLaurin? It's just friends, I guess.
De'Ami Brown, we're here.
I think the Commanders' wide receivers is just the friends you make along the way. Personally, I'm all for it.
I agree.
The running backs for the Commanders, you got Austin Eckler, and then you got my dog, absolute dog, and Brian Robinson Jr. Hopefully, he gets a lot of touches. Zeke sees a lot of the receiving work because that's who Zeke is. He's not a pure runner anymore. We saw that last year. He's more of the receiver back. Um, the offensive line for the Commanders is okay at best, but now the Buck side, you got Baker Mayfield, you got Rashad White, Bucky Irving. Hinting at that because Bucky Irving is going to, I think, he's going to be a very big part of this offense. You got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cade Otton, whoever their wide receiver 3 is, as I forgot his name. Um, and then, of course, the Bucks defense is a little depleted from years past, but you still got one of the best safeties in the league, if not the best, in Antoine Winfield. Absolutely, he's going to be the star-studded part of your defense. I actually have the Bucks winning this since it's Jane Daniels' first game going into Tampa Bay. I have Bucks winning here, 28-10.
I got 27-17 for the Bucks. Yeah. I just think first game for Jaden, home game for him. I just think the Bucks are gonna come out with this one. They will have a new coordinator this year. Their coordinator last year really helped Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say breakout, but he had one of his better years for sure. The Commanders' secondary is,
Yeah, I agree.
Manuel Forbes is a bust. I'm assuming they're going to have to throw him out there.
Calm down with all this bust talk.
No, he's bad. He's bad. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I think are going to have a big day against their secondary. And then Jaden, you just got to limit the mistakes. There's going to be mistakes, but you got to limit the mistakes. Todd Bowles, he's obviously a defensive-minded guy, so I'm sure he's going to want to bring the heat. Kind of talked about earlier, you got to confuse Jaden, throw some different looks at him, bring some pressure. I don't really see the Commanders in his first game. I just don't see them pulling this win out, unless the Bucks offense takes a big step back.
Now we move on to probably the game of the weekend. Not counting. Yeah, I'm gonna count tomorrow as Friday night as well.
One of these two.
Yeah, I think this game is gonna be more of the game of the week because I think they're more evenly matched than the other game. So for Sunday Night Football, I'm here for it. Los Angeles Rams going to Detroit to play the Lions. This is a long trip, very, very long trip for the Rams. And Lions look really, really good this year. And the big question is how's Jahmyr Gibbs going to play in this offense with his hamstring injury? They might start out like they did last year with him, just slowly implement him back into the offense. But even that, you still have Amon-Ra St. Brown. James Williams is primed for a big year. I'm all for it. You got David Montgomery. You got some good tight end that Gabe loves, apparently, in Sam Laporta.
He's the goat.
And then the wide receiver 3 is I forgot his name. But then on the Rams side, you have Puka, you have Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams. The offensive line matches up pretty much toe to toe. I get the Lions have the upper edge because I think they have a better offensive line. You have the tight end for the Rams. Oh,
Tyler Higbee.
Tyler Higbee, yes,
I think so.
I believe so. I think so. But I'll have to get the edge to the Lions of just the offense. But the defensive side, who's going to replace Aaron Donald? That's the big one. We've been saying that question for this past offseason. Who's going to replace them? Nobody will. And the words of Moneyball, you have to kind of just replace the stats of him. They're losing their best linebacker to the Titans. I believe, Ernest Jones. But I'm still going to give the edge to the Rams because the Lions cornerbacks, they are young. You got Teron Arnold, which is going to be a stud, but you have to guard Puka and Cooper Cup. That's very scary. That's very very scary. And then their
Yeah.
wide receiver three, I believe, is Jordan Whittington. Um, Gabe probably don't know too much about him. I've watched a lot of Rams preseason, and he looked like that guy. Um, Looked just like Cooper Cup, and when Cooper Cup was just first drafted. So all in all, great. It's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a cinema. I'm gonna give the edge to the Rams here. I think the Rams go to Detroit and beat the Lions. I actually have them winning 35-31.
I think it's gonna be a Lions win. I think it's gonna be a shootout though. 34-27 for the Lions. Rematch of the playoffs last year where the Rams had to go to Detroit. Ended up losing. But I think the receivers on both sides are going to have big games. Obviously, this is a big receiver matchup here on both sides. Even the tight end, Tyler Higbee's not Sam Laporta, but he's still a pretty good tight end. I just think it's going to be an offensive game for sure. For defenses, I'm concerned about the Rams' ability to generate pressure.
Yeah.
Even last year, outside of Aaron Donald, I was kind of a little bit worried about it. And this year, especially, this is the best offensive line in the league you're going against. Who's really being able to get consistent pressure? It's a bit concerning. Both secondaries aren't exceptional. They both concern me a little bit. That's why I just think this is going to be a shootout. And then a bit of a coaching battle as well. These are two of the better coaches in the league, two of the best coaches in the league. I think Sean McVay, on paper, I think this looks like it could be a big win for the Lions, but to have Sean McVay is such a difference maker for your team. And for Matt Stafford to still be playing so well, even at his age, I think he's going to have a big year. He was I don't know if he was my MVP pick, but he was my dark horse, I believe. Yeah. I think he's going to have a great year. But I just think the Lions have the slight edge. They have a little bit better offense. Their running backs, I do think their running backs are better when you account for the tandem that the Lions have. Blake Corum could have a good year, but I don't think he's on the level of either of the Lions running backs as the second string.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I think this is going to be the game of the week.
I agree. Now, for in running of that game is we have Monday Night Football. The New York Jets going to to San Francisco to play the 49ers. I don't really know what to think about the Jets because we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers in a year after last year. What happened?
Yeah.
Aaron third play of the season, Aaron Rodgers go down toward Achilles. Obviously, big story last year. If that happened, 49ers, I'm just saying the 49ers field has a little tendency to do that. So hopefully, you don't get injured again. I really don't. I think I'm gonna get the edge to the Jets offense. Even though CMC is on pace to play, they have the better offensive line. They don't have the better receivers, but they have just as good receivers. Deebo Samuel is not giving me a good wide receiver one. He's like I said, he's more of the gadget guy. We've seen that in day one since he's been drafted. But on the other side, the Jets also have Garrett Wilson. They have Mike Williams when he plays is an absolute dog. I mean, he's that jump ball wide receiver. He's gonna go get you that ball. And then you have my goat, my absolute goat, my dog, the best player in the league. The best wide receiver. I've personally seen him torch the Saints and Allen Lazard. I'm gonna show a graphic right here. Graphic of me, my absolute fantasy team. Graphic right here. Um, Alan Lazard is the best wide receiver in the league. There's no doubt about that. But in all seriousness, he is going to be the better wide receiver, three to whoever it is, because Juwan Jennings actually on track to be questionable. And that point, you have Ronnie Bell, I think, as their backup. He isn't that great. Like I said, Ricky Pershaw is out of the game because of reasons that happened. Prayers up to him. Thank God he is okay. Everything's okay with him. Of course, and then of course it's gonna be Aaron Rodgers versus Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is your can be your game manager, your field manager. Aaron Rodgers is going to gunsling that thing. He do not care. Um, and of course you have George Kittle on the 49ers side and Tyler Conklin, which that's really a one-sided thing. That's going to go to George Kittle, obviously. But the big thing that wins here is the Jets' offensive line. You got Tyrone Smith. You got John Simpson, not that good, but running past him. Joe Tippmann's actually pretty decent. Elijah Very Tucker and Morgan Moses. And then you got Olush Fashanu behind Tyrone Smith, which I don't think I think he's not that bad, personally. So that's a good depth piece. And on the 49ers side, you have Trent Williams there. Hallelujah. Dog. And after that, I actually have no clue who any of these guys are. I know Jake Brendel, but that's it. Aaron Bakes is questionable, and that's really all I have for that one. 49ers defense, you're losing Eric Armstead, which is personally is a bigger deal than other people think because he was a pretty good pass rusher. You don't have Dre Greenlaw for the first half of the year. I think there is a way that the Jets go into San Francisco and get the win. And that's what I have today as probably the biggest upset of the week. Personally, I think I have the Jets going into San Francisco, taking good control of this game and winning 31-21.
I got a little bit. I got the Niners. I got a little bit not as high scoring. 21-17. I think it could go either way though. We'll just have to see because I think Rodgers. This is not going to be Rodgers from Green Bay. Really, last time we saw him healthy, he's going to have a drop off for sure. Will Mike Williams show up? Will he be consistent? Will he stay healthy? Just on the year, that's something to watch because out behind him is not really great. Talking about wide receiver 3, come on, it's not it's not good. And the O line, do have concerns about the O line. If Tyron Smith, we know he's injury prone at this point. Morgan Moses on the right side, he's average probably. Elijah Vera Tucker's got to stay healthy this year. I do think we'll see Olu Fashanu at some point throughout this year. Not sure where they'll use him. They could slide him to guard, I guess, at some point if need be. And kind of, the Niners offensive line definitely concerns me outside of Trent Williams. It's really bad, not good. I think, how does Rodgers look? That's the biggest thing. That's obviously the thing with the Jets. We just don't know. If he comes out there and they look bad, this could get out of hand. Even though the Niners the defense maybe not as good as it was last year, especially missing Dre Greenlaw. But it was big for them to get Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams back. This game would have gone a lot differently if they did not have one or both of those guys. This is a tough Jets defense. I don't see the Jets defense letting this game get out of hand. Even though I do think Sauce obviously will probably maybe get the main assignment. I still think Ayuk's going to get his. They're obviously going to use Kittle and Debo the ways they always use them. And then CNC, who should be out there for him. So it's going to be a hard offense to contain, but we know the Jets defense, minus safety, I would say, is a bit of a concern. Other than that, the Jets defense is pretty loaded. Robert Saleh obviously was the Niners defensive coordinator. He's a defensive-minded guy. We'll just have to see another thing this year for the Jets. Will we see him become a little bit better of an offensive guy? Especially, I can't remember who's calling their plays, or if it's Nathaniel Hackett. I know they had Todd Downing doing it during the training camp, which
I forgot about that.
it was really quite funny. I can't remember who their offensive coordinator is going to be, but either of those guys aren't good. I mean, Todd Downing is the worst ever, and then Robert Saleh, he can't. We know he's not an offensive guy, so this game could go either way. If Rodgers looks like Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah, I completely agree. Also want to shout out former top 10 pick, top 5 pick, actually, I think, of the 49ers. Solomon Thomas is also with the Jets. So, revenge game, even though Solomon Thomas has been in the league for the past 8 years, I think now. But also, Mike Goat, the best punter of all time, Thomas Morstead's also in the Jets. He's going to get his way. I think.
Ryan Stonehouse clears, buddy.
What?
Ryan Stonehouse clears, buddy.
I don't know about that. But all in all,
only thing he has is longevity.
Absolutely. Honestly, I'm ready for this weekend. Sunday, I'm not leaving the couch. Saturday, of course, I'll be in Hattiesburg. Throwing down glizzies every single second I can. And pretty much, it's gonna be a great weekend for football fans. Of course, thank y'all for listening for today's podcast. In and off, Brock Purdy's mid. Bryce Young is terrible.
John Emery,
Dre Greenlaw is hurt. Braylon Allen is huge. Ron Williams is going to get his way again. And screw a man's name, elementary statistics. Thank y'all for watching today's podcast or listening to today's podcast. Please subscribe, like, follow. Again, all that good jazz. It's your host, Jacob and your co-host, Gabe Caraway. Thank you.